Howdy, howdy, and welcome to My Bloody Judy with your final forgets, myself, Zachary Patton Garcia.
And Ian Carlos Crawford.
The year has come to a close by the time this episode comes out. I think tomorrow is the very last day of 2022. 2022 is already done, Ian. It's already done. We're already at 2023, okay?
It was a long fucking year. I'm ready.
1 year closer to death. Okay.
Yeah,
horror really was. This was a year for horror. Like a really good, shiny year. And I wonder if that's going to continue next year or if we're going to have a couple like years of I don't know, a couple damper years, you know. But like I feel like studios have caught on to, especially after the pandemic, have caught on to the fact that like horror is low budget, high return, you know.
Right, because didn't Smile have like a bananas return?
I feel like everybody was talking about Smile, so it must have, right? But like even a $20 to $30 million return against a $5 million budget, right? Like that's big money, you know. That's how Blumhouse made their staked a name for themselves initially. So we're going to be talking about some of our favorites of 2022 in no real particular order until we get to the end when we come up with, I guess we got to come up with about 5 of our favorite horror movies of the year. But before we get to, I don't know, what are some of your favorites of this year?
Made a comprehensive list on my phone.
There you go. Try to act like it's just completely natural.
Okay. I won't hold it up then. I was going to hold it up to
No, just kidding. And I'm drinking. Are you drinking, Ian?
No, I'm not. I can be. So like, it's funny because I do feel like our list of like our general list of the best will probably be the same. It's that our like top 5 will be probably completely different. But like this was such a good year for horror. I had like trouble putting everything on the list because there was just so much.
Yeah.
So like, you know, Barbarian, Nope, Scream, Black Phone. There was Stranger Things season 4, Pretty Little Liars, Original Sin, Prey, X, Pearl, Werewolf by Night, The Menu, Bones and All.
So basically, if it was released during 2022, it's on Ian's list here.
No, these are just like the ones that I think are like that I watched that I love.
Yeah.
Fresh, The Invitation, and then like I put like honorable mention Halloween Ends because I do love the end of it. Smile just because like I felt like we got to mention it even though we both kind of felt the same way about it. Interview with a Vampire, you watched all of it. I didn't, right?
See, I didn't even, I watched all of it and I didn't even include TV. Like that completely went right over my head just now. And Interview with the Vampire.
I got us covered. Don't worry.
That was good. And Stranger Things, I feel like Stranger Things was the event watch of the year. It was like, and especially that it was broken up into 2 parts, really like set the world and the internet on fire, you know, and it was super exciting to watch. It did, like those last few episodes were a little bit long, but the thrill that I got from them, I haven't felt like,
I agree.
Like it was the strongest thrill that I did feel this year, I think.
Oh, I totally agree. And like it was like fun, and I feel like us being like, "Oh, did you watch it yet?" Like,
like the group like chat fun, was going, right? Man.
Yeah,
the group chat was on fire with that one. So that one was real good.
There's Chucky, which you didn't watch yet, right?
I did. Yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yes, and I really, really enjoyed it. Yeah, but I just like watched it later. I had to wait till it was. I want to binge Chucky. I don't think Chucky is my week to week watch. I didn't have as much fun when I was trying to watch week to week, and then when I binged it, I got like super into it, you know.
The Watcher, which I had completely forgotten about, which was not good, but it was an enjoyable watch.
Did you not like it? Oh, I liked it. The one about the girl.
No. That's Watcher.
The show.
The Watcher is the Netflix series.
See, there's too much. No, not the series. I did not see the series.
I did not see Watcher, but you and Kirsten White both told me that I should watch it.
Yeah.
There was like, I was like, there's just so much, and I was like, I gotta try to catch up because then tomorrow I'm doing the Slayerfest '98 year-end episode, and I was like, trying to watch Batman today. I didn't finish Batman.
Batman was this year. That's why you were watching it. I thought you was just watching it for shits and giggles. I was like, that's a good one for you to watch. Good job. But that makes sense now because it came out this year.
And Halloween Ends and The Invitation. Did I say those two? I think those were like, for me, there weren't a lot of misses. Like,
I don't think there were either. We started out the year pretty Scream was January, right? So we started out in January, but then we had Texas Chainsaw Massacre right after that, and that was like kind of a downer. I felt like that was a downer. I was a little too. We had just launched our Twitter. This was the first year, y'all, when My Bloody Judy went on its own, stood on its own 2 feet. Got a Twitter, got a YouTube channel, got an Instagram now. And the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was like right when we just started that Twitter, and so I was like too scared to say anything real bad about it. But Texas Chainsaw Massacre fucking sucked. It was a bad movie. It was a horrible return to the franchise. I don't care what nobody says. I thought it was dull as hell. However, it had one of my favorite moments, my favorite horror moments of the year, which was the sunflower scene. I thought that was so cool. Yeah.
Oh, see, I put the of my like standout moments, I put the bus with the chainsaw. I do like that moment.
You said that one, you liked it?
I forgot about the sunflower scene, but that is a cool scene too.
I liked it without I liked the bus without the influencer and like cell phones and all of that. I thought that shit was so stupid, but
and I didn't hate it as much as I like just felt whatever about it. Yeah, I mean that franchise is so like all over the place.
But they're usually like real good, like stylized. They know what they are. They're about the kills, you know, they're about a final girl looking really good as she's like, you know, got mascara running down her. Like they understand that. And in this one, they didn't get it. They tried to make it a little bit deeper than it should have been, you know. The random flashes of the school shooting. I was like, okay, well, what are we doing?
That's the thing that bothered me the most, because it's like we're being flippant about it. Like also it didn't need to be, like it really didn't need to be there. Like it didn't serve a purpose. Anyway, we're spending too much time on this movie.
No. My final thought on this one. Sarah Jessica Parker, Jessica Biel in the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, in her white tank top, tied up, showing the belly, and her low-rise bootcut jeans, running in the rain. That is the final girl look I'm looking for. And listen, if we want to be PC and we're like, oh well, you know, male gaze, all those other buzzwords, okay? There's another man in that same movie who also has a tank top, real tight jeans, and gets real wet with his muscles sticking out, and you could just as easily do it like that. That is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and they're just being chased by a guy with a chainsaw. So whoever takes on the mantle next, keep that note. Just remember that.
Because I don't know, I do think the bus scene, the sunflower scene, and when she's under the house, I did like that chase.
Yeah.
I did.
Oh, it was good. Yeah, it had really good stuff in it. It just was. It felt super underwhelming, I think, and there was build up to it. I remember everybody was talking about it too.
And also, like, why did they even bring her Sally back? Like, that actress died. Why even bother if it's going to be a different actress who dies 2 seconds later?
Who doesn't do anything? Who does it shit? Okay, so now we move on.
Anyway,
because, we're getting too much into it. Yeah, I don't know. It was just like right after that, though. I feel like it was just hit after hit after hit after hit for me, because I think I saw X was the very next thing that I saw, because we had just moved to El Paso. That was the first movie we saw when we moved to El Paso, and you and I recorded right after that, and it was just like, oh shit, I love this. Such a great year for horror. We have Scream and X. This is all we need this year. You know, I was like, we're great.
And then I think it was like only a few weeks later we got Black Phone.
Black Phone was another really good one that I'm surprised I don't have on my like main list. You know, I thought maybe I need to reconfigure, because Black Phone was also a real good one. Although I'm not even seeing Black Phone on here when I look up, because I had to look up 2022 horror movies to remember what even the fuck came out this year.
Listen, I did all of this while on the toilet, and I was like going back and forth between different year-end horror lists.
He's sitting on the toilet and he goes, oh, fresh.
I was like, oh, right, that's a movie.
There you go. Yeah, I don't know. What are some of your favorite horror moments, though?
So I'm glad you asked, because I have a bunch. But I don't remember, you know, I'm bad with characters' names. So sometimes I have the actor's name, and then sometimes I have the character's name.
Just describe it. We'll get it.
In the season finale of Pretty Little Liars, Original Sin, when Bailey Madison fucking fights A, and she like lets out that like guttural scream, and they're going at it. Like, I feel like I always wonder if people judge you and I because it's like we're big horror fans, but we also like Pretty Little Liars. I'm sure some people would be like,
Yeah.
that show, but like it's good, right?
They didn't watch it then. They didn't watch it because we are not big Pretty Little Liars fans. We didn't come from the original show. I saw the trailer for Pretty Little Liars original set and knew I was going to fucking like that shit. And guess what? I did. That last episode had one of the best final girl chases and fights of the year. Okay. And
Zach, I love when we're on the same page. That's what I was literally about to say is like, that's worthy of like an iconic horror movie.
It had girth, it had length, all of it. Meat,
it was brutal.
Okay, ripped a hole in you. Listen, it kind of plays off of a theme that I've noticed a lot of horror this year has is kind of like when you're in a fight and you use like force because the killer's stronger than you and you have to use force to kind of get out of that situation. Well, in that scene where Bailey Madison is fighting the killer
and is pregnant
her baby's fighting too. We won't even get into that, okay? But the baby fought hard. No, she like there's like a moment where he's like slamming her against the walls. He like is hitting her and she like uses her foot to like kick herself off of the wall and like get kind of an advantage because she's again 16-year-old pregnant girl. She needs the advantage. It's just
and she's small and he's
it's
huge.
So good. The choreography's really good. Bailey Madison is like is I know Jenna Ortega has gotten a lot of praise this year.
And rightfully so. She's been great.
Absolutely deserves it. This was her year. Okay. This was absolutely her year. But Bailey Madison, I think, is somebody who needs to lean into horror a little bit more because like this is her shit. It is truly her shit.
And I remember you and I, like when we watched her do that scream, we were both like, because like
we love it.
You either can do a scream like that or you can't, right? That's not like I don't know. That's not like, oh, just do a scream. Yeah, sure. Like,
well,
you have
it's
to be
not
able to
pretty,
do that.
right? Like, we like it when it gets a little messy. And when you do a guttural scream of like, you know, a force and a show of like all the power that you have literally inside of you coming out verbally is just, it feels powerful. And when you're watching it, it feels powerful, you know? And so we've kind of, I think one of our biggest critiques of this year was that we're not getting a whole lot of of chase scenes these days. And this was a chase scene fed to us. And not only was it a chase scene, but it went on for a good while. Like this was a good like 7 to 10 minute chase. And she runs through a cemetery. She hides in her house. She hides
like going through the whole town.
And she fucking fights, man. And it was just really good. I'm really glad you brought that moment up.
Stranger Things, I feel like the two big moments were both the running up that hill moments of like Max running up that hill, and then the remix in the finale, which like I just like can't get over how good that was. Yeah. That they remixed fucking Running Up That Hill with the theme song and like it worked. Like it didn't feel stupid.
There's not often that there's a moment that kind of like fits into the cultural zeitgeist and like really like permeates society and culture as a whole, and not just for horror fans, not just for like the fans of the Stranger Things series. Like Running Up That Hill, like she made so much money this year off of that fucking song,
and good for her because she fucking owned it completely. Like no one else owned it.
So she was happy about it, and you know it worked so well in the show, right? Because they had that song playing throughout the entire season. It wasn't just that moment, but
and the first episode you hear Max listening to it, and I even liked it then. Like I was like, oh, cool.
Such a moment when that does happen that it's just like I don't remember crying, but I know I could have. I absolutely. I'm sure Alistair did.
I sobbed.
I'm absolutely sure Alistair probably did if I did.
But and like the thing that I like is like a few months after, I remember seeing a like Twitter friend was like live tweeting. He was like, that was the moment, and he thought it was in the premiere. No, he thought it was the first episode when like she's playing on her headphones. And I just kept like, I remember seeing that and being like, ooh, just wait, because it's actually perfect that they already tell you that that's a song she likes. Like, right? That makes it work even better. Because it's like, oh, yeah, we did hear her listening to that. Like, it's not just like pulled out of nowhere. And then the remix, that moment was so good when it's like Hopper's getting the fucking sword. And like, I watch everything with captions. So the captions for that, I loved all the captions. But especially it's like the Demogorgon with its like flower face blooming and screaming. And it just says like, epic synth pop remix of Running Up That Hill plays, and that's what it says when the like Demogorgon and like we see Nancy with the fucking shotgun shooting Vecna. Like, oh,
Well, I have to say something again. Sometimes I do like stand back a little bit while everybody's giving their opinions because I don't want to be the odd man out, and I'm just like I don't want to deal with it right now. I have never fucking liked Nancy. I thought Nancy was the most fucking boring character I have seen in a show in a long time. But this season, like I feel like almost every character this season really like had a tight grip on my heart, you know, like they all like earned a place in my extreme admiration for them. When Steve's like being attacked by those little, I don't know, pterodactyls,
little bats, demon bats. I don't know.
And all of his friends show up and start beating the shit. Like, what a moment! What a moment! Maya Hawke.
A thing that I appreciate about Maya Hawke's Robin is gay and useless, and that's how I would be. Except for when she like absolutely has to pick it up, and then she does. So like I feel like I can relate to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that moment, that was my favorite moment until we got because that's in the finale of the first part, isn't it? The fight with the bats when they go to save Steve.
I couldn't even tell you.
But like whatever, like that moment is so good because I think it's like because the show's so brutal, I did think Steve was gonna die. I was like, oh shit. Because also like they do eat his side, so it does like
they were going in on it.
They really were. And I just like that moment of her hitting the bat, and then you look up at her and she's like, hey. And then they like the music that plays when they're just fighting so good.
We love friendship moments like that. That's another thing that we've really.
It's very we goes back to Buffy.
Praise on is that it feels like they fucking like each other and have each other's back, right? Like I truly feel like all of those people have each other's back. It really was Max's season. 11, you know, Millie Bobby Brown always owns her shit. So anytime she's on screen, she owns it. She does great. But like Max really showed up and showed out this year. You know, Sadie Sink, like this was the really good year for her.
The Nope night scene, the night chase scene, I think was like the most thrilling, like because we didn't get a lot of horror chase scenes, right? We got a lot of good horror things, but we didn't get a lot of like chase scenes. Probably was one of my favorite horror chase scenes of the year. Because it's like, you know, I'm friends with a guy who's like, no, I love that movie, but I don't consider it horror. I consider it just like a sci-fi movie. But I think it's like a monster movie.
It is, yeah.
And like that scene in the dark is shot so well. So it's like it like makes sense when you can't tell, but it's very blue, so you can still see what's going on, which I appreciated. Because I will say, even Stranger Things this season, sometimes when they're in the upside down, I was like, what? Can we turn up the brightness?
We're getting into that point of like everything needs to be so realistic that even nighttime looks too realistic, and I'm fully fine with a fully lit night scene. Okay, let me see everything that's going on sometimes. But I agree with you.
Like it's a show.
This and that night scene in Nope was really good with the with those kids dressed as aliens. Like I have like one of the times that I held my breath the most this year. I was like, ugh. It was really,
right, and
really
it's
creepy.
so weird because like the movie plays it as like, oops, nope, it's just a little costume, but it was intense, right?
It was scary because he was like on his phone and like the way they were coming out. That was really good, but that wasn't one of my favorite favorite moments from Nope. My favorite moment from Nope that I thought was like the wildest shit in that movie was when we see Jean Jacket's like full not digestive tract, but his food tube.
When he's eating the star,
would we even call that? His throat. We'll call it his throat. When he's eating the entire crowd and we're seeing them like for that quick flash, because the way they play it, it's like we see Jean Jacket fly over them. It like
and they all
gusts things up. They all look and we cut to black and we think we're gonna go to like Keke Palmer or somebody over there, right? But then like after 2 or 3 seconds, we are just in this thing's throat and people like being funneled through screaming. It feels so claustrophobic. Have you seen that making of clip that's been going around on Twitter?
No, I know you told me about that, but I haven't watched it.
It's crazy. It's like blows me away. And I think that was like one of the most terrifying moments of the year.
Yes.
Because
okay. Mm-hmm. I have 3 moments from Nope listed on here. And one of them is that because I do think like watching that and like the like murdering an entire family and then like these random people and the poor fucking girl that survived having her face eaten off.
What was her name? Mary Alice, Mary Ellen, Mary something.
Something like that. It's like, let that lady live. She has had enough. it.
She didn't deserve it. Undeserved. And we all blamed her anyway while watching the trailer. We're like, she's the alien.
Yeah. Like, no, she's just this poor lady.
Terrible on us. Yeah. Prejudging somebody who has a little bit of a deformity. And then she gets her ass eaten at the end anyway. And then this motherfucker, like, throws up, hungover or whatever it is, and throws up all over Keke Palmer's house. I thought that was fucking crazy. I was like,
so it's like, it's weird, right? Because this is what I had trouble breaking up in Nope, because the Gordy scene is also very fucking intense. Like when he's just like beating on that girl, and then like the dad walks by, and you just like, it's so brutal. And then it leads into, you know, like a little bit later is we get the ranch and we see that. And then like, that bleeds into the scene of like Jean Jacket taking a dump on the fucking house. And like, all of those are very intense scenes.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, when Keke Palmer and when Emerald and Angel are hiding in the house, like underneath tables, and you just hear everything and it's like dark. That's scary, right?
Like they were fully screaming. It reminded me of you've seen Annihilation, right? Where they're
no,
like
I haven't.
sitting.
No,
oh, you
I
have
haven't.
not. Oh, there's okay, never mind. It reminds me of that, and you'll know what I mean when you do eventually watch it. That was really good. Another moment that I really just like I still think about it is Tess when she is when in Barbarian, Tess when what is his name? Which Skarsgård brother is it? Bill Skarsgård goes down, and he's calling out for her, and like we have the moment from her at the top of the right before she goes into the secret hallway, all the way through to like Justin Long's brand new movie that we get in the middle of the movie. You know, that again was one of the moments this year that had me holding my breath throughout. I thought that was like insane. I thought that was I almost had a heart attack. Palms were sweaty, you know, when I watched it the second time in the theater. I was looking at everybody to make sure they were like on edge just like I was.
I like, so I have both those lists on this list as well. Like it's wild that like that is one long we lead into the other because it is so intense, and I get more scared of the dark. I say this all the time. Like the dark is a thing that does scare me. And like this poor girl, it's fucking pitch black. Like Jesus. And when she finds like,
and there's, and we're like sure that he is something possibly, but even still, you know, I feel like she even maybe thinks that, but she keeps going and keeps going. And it just frustrates you to hell because she should just be going back. She's got a complete out here. Completely could get out, go get somebody, do something, right? And it just is that kind of pushing us as the audience forward against our will down. I wouldn't even call it a basement. These fucking tunnels, the catacombs of Detroit. It was crazy. What's another one you have?
Let me see. So I basically went through every movie on the list and or show and put moments. From Scream, the moments that, so like the whole third act of Scream is one of my favorite acts of any Scream movie. But like specifically Sydney hanging up on Ghostface, which we've talked about, so I won't bother going into it, but like I love that scene. Sydney and Gail fucking demolishing Amber and throwing her.
Good shit.
Like I think of that cut a lot, and I just remember being like,
whoever came up with those two grabbing this teenage girl, like saying "fuck a minor" and grabbing her by both arms and flipping her over the counter and putting her in the corner spot, which the corner spot is the kill spot, right? That's your victim spot. Fucking brilliant. Okay, that was good shit.
Right, like it's like, and I feel like we've never seen Gail and Sydney. Like they've teamed up at the end, and it's like they shoot a gun, but it's not. That's like
standing
them
together, cool, kind of, right? But like they were fucking WWEing, okay? They tag teamed. They were the Bella twins. You know,
I know that reference.
There you go. They were going for it.
And then I do think the Wes Judy scene is like one of the best.
I'm so happy you have that on there because I do too. That's what I have for Scream.
Because I don't know if we can call it a chase scene, but it's like, so you're on edge the whole fucking time.
It is one of the most intense kills of the franchise.
Right?
Judy getting killed in the front yard right before going to save her son, not knowing that her son is fully fine right that second, you know.
That shit's
It
heartbreaking,
just
right?
there was no way for anybody, either of them, to win in that scene. And when you really like think about it and think even deeper about it, is like, had she like already known that he was fine and he was in the shower and that Ghostface hadn't got to him yet, and she decided to like take the extra minute to go and get back up or something like that,
Right.
Ghostface would have gone up and killed him, and he would have
Right,
been the
yeah.
first one to die. They were going
There
to
was
die
no winning.
either way, yes. But
Yeah.
just the fact that she dies in the middle of the fucking day, people probably out in their lawns, and she dies like right before reaching the front door, and then Ghostface, they're like struggling, and he does the knife thing and just pushes down with the other hand. It just brutal, terribly brutal. You see, she did such a great job, like wide-eyed looking, trying to look into the face of Ghostface, right? You can't really, but you know, it just,
And like
every aspect of that scene was played so well.
yeah, I'm like getting the chills thinking about it because like you're right, she does play it really well because she has those wide eyes. She's like a fucking mom who's like, my son, shit. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what she's thinking about. Like, now my son's gonna die or is dead, you know, like.
And yeah, I don't buy it as her like being dumb either, though. It's not like a stupid person running into a scene that's obviously set up. It's she probably knows that that was set up and that there's some sort of trap there, but she's the fucking sheriff. She's like, I'm trained for shit like this.
Yeah.
And he just so happens to do the thing that was so simple that you really couldn't have seen it coming. Is just step out from behind a pillar and like get her right there on the front lawn.
I think
like,
that was probably the biggest jump scare I had in the whole new Scream. Because you don't, like you said, it's like very obvious, but you're not expecting it. And man, Wes's death is pretty brutal too. And like the only thing I can say I'm glad is I didn't want him to open that door and see his dead mom and then get killed. That feels like it would just be like too cruel, even though they die anyway. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
but they even gave us that false hope with Wes also, is like them literally giving us, it felt like foreshadowing when they're talking about the taser or whatever was sitting right there. Was it a taser or a knife? I don't remember.
I thought it was mace, but it might be a taser.
It was something like right there. And then when we see him going for it, it doesn't even fucking matter because he dies anyway. It's terrible, but it's like, it's one of the most memorable scenes of the franchise, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, yeah, I just like, there's something weird to be said. Like we were saying earlier, it's like, you know, Judy, you didn't care about her much in 4. It was like, she was kind of just like there, right? I was glad she lived, just as I'm always glad if like an extra character lives to like have him in the next one.
Yeah.
But in this one, like you did, because she was just like, you got to see her like, you know, kissing her son, being like, oh, I'm gonna get dinner. Like, it's just like being like a nice mom, right?
Poor Judy, the whole house just dead house.
So I got from Black Phone, my favorite moment, like the most memorable moment, I think, aside from all the lines the sister has, because she's very good, is when the kids are training Finney to like fight. And like, I don't know, that moment made me tear up when the one kid's like, this is how you throw a punch. Like the friend of his that got killed, and he's like showing him how to throw a punch. Like, I don't know, that like made me
it's a
emotional.
truly I would say even darker way to show true crime, in that, you know, you have these boys who will never talk to their families again, who will never leave that basement. Probably they are ghosts. They're forgetting their names throughout the entire movie. They don't even remember their own story.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
And this boy is literally 1 hour from death. He's 1 hour from death, and if he is not prepared to fight, he's going to die just like them, and this guy is going to get away. And even if this guy was caught, this little boy would have been killed and been part of the body count, you know?
Right.
And so, just the idea of past victims, especially child victims of a serial killer, helping the next victim. It's like crazy, isn't it? Like, that's such a, it's very dark, but it's also like, I don't know, just everything you sort of described about it, just kind of sets the hairs up on your arms, and it's very emotional to watch. It is very emotional to watch.
And you know, in the same vein of, but not in the emotional way, like that's kind of how I felt about Tara in Scream being able to kill the killer that like almost killed her. It's like a little bit of poetic justice, right? That like these like poor kids that were murdered were able to like help the final victim get out, right? Like, he got out only because of like, if those ghosts weren't there, he probably would have died, right? Like, And there's something like, I don't know, there's a side note, but my favorite episode of Veronica Mars is in the one of the final seasons. In the beginning, there's like a rape that happens, and then there's
Yeah.
like a serial rapist on campus. Veronica feels really bad because one of the first victim is one of her roommates who moves out. She's like a flighty blonde girl, whatever, and Veronica brushes her off and thinks she's having sex with a guy, but she's being like sexually assaulted.
Yeah.
That woman is the one that saves Veronica from the rapist. Like once it all comes out, like they drug Veronica, she falls over. That girl like saves her because she smells the guy's cologne, and she like calls the police and screams for help, and everyone comes out. And for me, there's something like really emotional about someone who was attacked getting to like
Yeah.
save the day. And I just really like that. I don't know. I like that.
It's good
that's
stuff, and it's
yeah.
it's the poetic justice of it all, but it's still like very, very dark. Because
You're right. Yeah.
like we really grew to love this kid who was just gonna go to see Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the movies with his uncle and never got to do that. You know, just that little bit of information that we got from him that he likes to go see scary movies with his uncle. I thought that was like immediately
Yeah.
made his death that much more sad. You know.
And like those, I gotta say, Black Phone. I mean, they've been doing pretty good in horror in general and in movies, but like the kids in that movie were real fucking good, right? Like I
Yeah.
thought the brother and sister duo, like
I heard they're like talking about sequel stuff, and I think
really?
they have so much more room to grow in that world
They do.
because of her, because of the sister, you know. And they could check back in, and the brother maybe is either all in or like very much wanting the sister to shut up so that he can
Yeah.
move on, or like there's so many different ways they can play this. But you know, we basically have Veronica Mars again, you know, the Ghost Whisperer. We have who else is it? Medium, you know, give her a show.
and you know, I put the whole again, Scream and Halloween Ends. I feel like both. It's like the final acts are very fucking good. So like the whole final act of Halloween Ends, I do think is like truly fantastic.
Yeah.
But like especially like for me, the two like key moments there are Laurie's call an ambulance, but not for me moment because that's so
Yeah.
good. I was so like, no, don't have her committing suicide. This sucks. And then it was like, ooh, she's not. She's saying fuck you.
It's her
And then her throwing him in the
that
trash
same
compactor.
spirit, the same gotcha spirit. You know, it's like really good. All of it, like the criticism aside, for any part of this movie, Jamie Lee Curtis knows how to play Laurie Strode. Laurie Strode and Jamie Lee Curtis like have no beginning and end.
Yeah.
It is the same person at this point. Laurie's kitchen fight, while it is not the most climactic of the franchise, and like her Halloween H2O ending, you're just not going to beat that.
Yeah.
But in a whole different timeline, a whole different reality, a whole different everything, like the fight was there. That was because of Jamie Lee Curtis. Again, those guttural grunting sounds, the screams, the like the audible like forcing of his hand down, or you know, climbing when she climbs up on him and puts her knee into his fucking sternum, or where's the sternum at? That's right here, right?
Yeah. Right.
I think so. I didn't go to medical school or law school. When she climbs up and puts her knee into like his stomach to hold him down because he's like getting up, and that would be the moment that he gets up and like he bests her or whatever.
Right.
And she's like, oh fucking no. And she like puts his knee, stabs his hand, gets up, throws the fucking refrigerator down. I'm like, Granny, what are you doing? Throwing appliance. I'm surprised she didn't get a KitchenAid and like smash his head in or something.
Shut up.
It's just good shit that she's like using everything around her to just like force everything onto him so that he can't get up. She fucking starts cutting him. She's like, she does the knife trick where she like looks. That's a good shot. Okay. It looks a little CGI, but it's a good shot. And that through the procession to the end, to the grinding up of Michael Myers, was like a fucking fabulous. It was good stuff.
I think this is the year. I don't think I ever cried at as many horror movies as I did this year.
We cried during a lot of horror movies. We got very emotional this year.
Yeah, like because like that trash compactor when we saw, I remember I was like, I don't know how I feel about this, and then we saw like the woman who he like cut up with the light and the kid that survived, and it's like, fuck, I'm crying again, like shit.
There was like clearly a way to make every little scene in this movie better.
Yes.
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 And like the procession would have been to like literally put the victims of Michael Myers just as a theory playing other people, like citizens of Haddonfield, like walking with them would have been so like that would have been the Spider-Man. What is it? No Way Home? Home from Home?
No Way.
Which Way Home?
Yeah, No Way
Home.
Yeah.
It would have been that moment, okay? Seeing all of these people showing up and like no lines, just a brief shot of each of them. Danielle Harris briefly in the background.
Or even like they're all just standing there when we cut to like the crowd.
Yes. And like it would have because the series was all this trilogy was already like very clearly nodding and winking at itself. All three movies. Just do it, okay? Just do it. It was your final outing anyway. But even without all of that stuff, it just worked for me. I felt the power. I felt I felt Jamie Lee Curtis ready to fucking finish Michael Myers. And like probably knowing they're bringing him back, but I get to finish Michael Myers. And this is it, for me.
Well, and like, I don't know, there's something poetic. Again, it's just like, again, rewrites aside, because I'm just like, man, I just wish she had been through it more times and blah, 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 but whatever. Just like that scene devoid of even context. It's like, even if you're like, you don't know that it's a revamp or whatever, like that, the scene works in every Laurie verse, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's like a timeline in Halloween where that wouldn't work. Like you know what I mean? Like it works without it being even attached to that movie, which I guess is a good or a bad, but I think it's a good.
You know what it felt like? It felt like when she did it would have been too hokey for them to actually do this, but if you just imagine it, you can picture it, is when she does the knife trick to show him, before it shows him, as it's like flashing through the light, you see all the flashes of different Laurie Strodes, H2O, normal Laurie Strode, Resurrection, like you see it all, It felt like that kind of moment, like, oh, fucking bested this motherfucker in a kitchen. The way it should be. No, not really. But
the way it should
fun. Other moments, we can kind of just start running through some moments without having to go deep into them. Bodies. Whenever they have, who is it? It's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's like 4 of the girls at the very end. Where it's the whole podcast discussion. Like from the beginning to when they're talking about privilege, and you can't use the black card against me, and you're not actually privileged, and you don't even like her podcast. All of that was so fucking good. It had nothing to do with horror. It was just a whole like discussion about culture, and it was very on the nose, very spot on, and it just worked for me so well.
What was the other movie I said that is not a horror movie? There's 2 that I was like, Violent Night and Bodies. You agree with me about Violent Night though. Like I loved Violent Night. It's probably one of my favorite movies of the year. It's just enjoyable.
Yeah.
I don't understand why people put that in horror. I also don't know. Bodies is a fucking mystery. And not a horror. It's like, I do think I would have liked that movie more if I hadn't seen people saying it's like Scream, because it's nothing like Scream.
It's not like Scream, but I would still classify it as horror. I think it's just horror light. It's much more. It just has like it is a whodunit. It is a mystery. It's got horror elements and thriller elements, but it's not an outright horror film, I think is where I would put it. But it has horror in it, so in that way, I still include it in mine. I didn't feel like Violent Night had horror elements to it. I felt like it was.
I guess you could say the gore. Movie. I guess. Because it is gory.
Okay. Well then,
but again, I don't think it is.
All of Violent Night. Violent Night, #1 movie.
I got Werewolf by Night, which you did eventually watch. I was trying to get him to watch it because I wanted him to record a Slayer Fest. We did an episode, but I fucking loved Werewolf by Night, and the two standout scenes were the werewolf transformation scene, when you just like focus on Elsa and she's like leaning against the bars. I think that looked so cool, and like clearly is supposed to look like old black and white horror movies, and it works. And the hallway fight scene, which I was so surprised that was actually bloody, but it's definitely because of the black and white. Orphan First Kill.
Great stuff. I love a rooftop, so I have to give it to the rooftop.
I'm gonna go upstairs and fuck my husband. It's like
Good stuff.
her
That movie
saying
was
to a
full of good stuff.
child.
And I feel disappointed in myself that it's not included on my top 5, but Isabel Furman, I just want you to know it is on my top list. Okay.
It's in our heart. It's in our
It
heart.
is. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Make more. I'll give you my money.
I
okay?
really do think that is the movie we had the most fun watching together. This year.
Absolutely. If you talk about fun, that it's up there, man. It's up there.
That scene, and then also the scene when she fucking is in the car with the sunglasses, smoking a cigarette,
Needing to get away from these fucking crazy people.
and she puts on Maniac on the radio.
She's like, I don't plan on keeping the car. I just need 30 minutes, please.
Like,
please give
please,
me 30
God.
minutes. We also have Pearl from Pearl. One of my favorite scenes of the year is her and her mom at the dinner table with the thunder and lightning clapping in the back, and they start arguing and they're like screaming at each other. It's a full acting tour de force, and then like her mom catches on fire. Wonderful scene, like so good, so thrilling.
Yeah, it's like weird, right? Because it is intense, but it's like you don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So like I almost like you're waiting for something bad. I mean, and something bad does happen, but like you don't. It's not like it's like a horror chase scene or something. It's not like someone's running at someone. It's just like they're screaming at each other, and you're like, ugh.
Yes.
And the thing I really like about that, which we did talk about in the episode, is that the mom is right. Like the mom is positioned as like the villain, but clearly she's right about Pearl because Pearl is a fucking murderer. You know what I mean? And
she knows her daughter. She's like, I know y'all think I'm a bitch mother, but like this bitch is crazy. I gave birth to the devil, and I think I recognize that. Okay,
and she was right.
She was right. She was all absolutely fucking right.
I feel like that also plays into both of us liking if it's like, oh, I don't want the person to be bad. So it's almost like a reversal of like, oh, she is bad, but actually she's right. So ooh, is she bad? There were two horror movies a horror movie and a show that I didn't love, but they had fantastic trailers. The Watcher Netflix series had a fantastic trailer, and the show was kind of like a fart, but it was, I love a trailer. It's like there's someone inside your house. That was a really good trailer. Like there's something to be said for like a really good horror trailer. Because I did watch the first 2 episodes of Interview with the Vampire. When fucking Lestat is in that church murdering everyone and is like, come with me.
First episode. Talk about an ending of an episode. Really hooked me.
I would have been like, great, let's go. Absolutely. All right, you're right.
Armand has not done it for me though. I have to say that. You haven't watched the rest of it, have you?
I was like, wait, isn't it Lewis?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Armand's the other guy. He does come into it. Okay. I've only watched, but I fucking loved that scene.
Yeah.
Especially because it was like, not that I thought it was boring. I had COVID brain, so I just couldn't pay attention. But right, there is a lot of like talking, right? And there's a lot of like plot going on. So I appreciate like going out with a bang at the end and like he fucking murders them. Like there's not even like, it's not romantic though. Like, right. It is like romantic to them, but like, it's not romantic the way he fucking murders those people. It's like there's blood everywhere. So I really liked that. I know you didn't watch it, but Midnight Club, the Anya episode, I don't know if you watched that episode where it's like she's dead and it's like her seeing everyone and her like seeing all the like horror stories they've told are like coming to life, and it's because she's dying and her brain is just like firing off all her memories. Yeah. And she doesn't realize it till the very end, and it is fucking sad. She's like a character you don't like. Can
I say okay. I did not pay attention to Midnight Club. I did not really watch it. I did not really care for it. But it did have one of the most frightening scenes of the year for me. Just as somebody who was listening kind of peripherally, there's this woman who keeps popping up, and I just kept hearing the woman saying this word over and over again, and I believe she was saying Sheila. I don't really remember, but she was saying something, and I just kept hearing it saying over and over again. But like I think it was like either the last episode or the second to last episode. But she's like screaming this one word over and over. I looked over to the TV. There's this woman like on the ceiling, kind of exorcist crawling, and it got me a little bit, and I was like intrigued for a good like minute or two, you know, and then they went into the story and I was like, I don't care. I got a nightmare that night of that same thing, and it also introduced like somebody standing in my closet, and it felt like a night terror, like a sleep paralysis sort of thing. So now to this day, I have to close my closet door because I'm scared of somebody standing in the closet saying that whatever words she was saying over and over again.
So, fun fact about me,
Okay.
I always keep my closet open because that's like if I'm in bed, I get like nervous, so I have to always have a closet door open.
Yeah. Nope, can't do it. I need it closed. I need bedroom doors closed. I need closet closed. I need anything that has a dark little crevice that somebody is staring at me from. I need that closed.
The two other things I have are the birthday party from Smile, which I do think was a good scene, um, and the entire murder mystery episode of Chucky centered around Jennifer Tilly and her friends fucking
Oh,
killing.
so wonderful. That was a great episode of television. Jennifer
Like,
Tilly,
truly.
like, oh, put her in 10 out of 10 episodes next season. Need it. Smile, I don't have any moments for Smile.
I did like the birthday party.
I wanted to. At the birthday party thing, I don't appreciate a dead animal. I don't like it. I don't think it works. And you lost points for me there. And Smile just didn't hit for me like it did with everybody else.
Yeah, I wonder why like both of us it didn't really hit. Because I mean, clearly everyone really liked it.
And I love a slow burn, and it felt like it was a slow burn movie, but it didn't do it for me. Another one of my favorite 2022 moments, and I know you will not agree with me on this. Maybe. Terrifier 2. The scene in the costume shop was truly terrifying for me. It felt
I did like that scene.
Creeper to the max. Him like staring at her from all sides of the room, coming up to her, doing the horn in her face. And her face like breaking the entire time that he's coming up to her, and she knows he's about to like do that horn.
She's like, please don't.
And like even the guy who's there, the shopkeeper is like can't even help her, you know. It's fucking weird. It's fucking creepy, and it is what true crime is made of.
Yeah, I mean, I did not like that movie at all, but I will give props to that scene. I do think that's a good scene. And like my complaint with that movie is there's not a lot of tensions. It's just him like ripping people apart. But that is like there is tension there.
Yeah. I need some of your favorite new horror characters of this year. So you cannot include Sydney and Gail.
That's a list I made.
Okay.
All right, hold on.
I know Tara's on there.
Oh yeah, of course. All right, I think I have my list. Okay. So Tara, Chad, and Mindy from the new Scream.
Mm-hmm.
Loved all three of them. Fantastic characters. Angel and Emerald in Nope. I don't think I've loved someone as much as I loved Emerald in Nope. And I love that neither of us even fucking realized that she was queer. Like in our recording, we didn't know that, and then she is queer.
Yeah.
Brittany Snow's character in X was like a standout for me of the year.
God, that fucking sucked, didn't it? Because she, I feel like, was overshadowed by the rest of the year. You know, which is a little disappointing.
Elsa Bloodstone, a Werewolf by Night, who anyone who knows me, I'm sure you felt the same way, Zach. Adam Sass was like, yeah, that's a character made for you to like, Ian. Like,
yeah.
And I would say Pearl in Pearl. Those were like the best new characters in horror.
I think we have
and then I do a bunch of honorable mentions.
Okay. We have the same characters for the most part. I do have Allison listed on here, but again, it needs to be a new character, so I will put her off, even though she was like so wonderful in Halloween Ends, I thought. Corey was a fantastic character. I thought Corey was such a great character, such a wasted character, such wasted potential with him. Yep. Sophie and Alice from Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. That's the main girl. And
Rachel Senwa.
Mm-hmm. Senwa? Is that how you say it? Samanamana. Yes, everybody knows who she is. Pearl, and then everybody else I pretty much said the same. I loved Chad. Chad was just I still think of Chad, you know.
Chad plays to like a thing that both of like you and I love. I feel like most gays, it's like he's like just a nice himbo jock dude who like is nice. And there's like I feel like we've had like a like resurgence of like hot guys who aren't like a bully. It's like, oh, the hot guys that are like just like these nice dudes, and like I like that. And he does it very well, right?
He does it extremely well. I do think of him often.
All the Pretty Little Liars and Pretty Little Liars, I think they are mention because they are all very. Bailey Madison is a standout. She gets that really cool final girl moment, but they are all really good, I do think.
Yeah.
Ted in Werewolf by Night, who's Man Thing, the big like monster. Love a like nice monster. Anya Taylor-Joy's character in The Menu. We haven't talked about that movie.
I don't think so. It didn't hit as hard for me.
Ooh, I loved her.
I loved her. The Menu, but I don't think her character really did it for me.
I like that she was kind of the only one that's like, what the fuck? And like everyone's like, no, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. And that she gets away with the cheeseburger. The image of her eating the cheeseburger while it's like blowing up, I'm like, I like that. Jennifer Coolidge as the weird realtor in The Watcher. I'm excited to have her in horror. Put her in more horror.
She's very clearly headed there. Like,
right?
We just need somebody to stay on course.
It was like almost there in White Lotus when she's like just fucking shooting.
Give her 2023 as the Jennifer Coolidge year of horror, and then give her some prestige something in 2024. There you go. There's her trajectory. Right. Okay, keep her in the public eye.
Because I mean, the thing about Jennifer Coolidge is she's mostly doing the same bit, but it works. I don't know. Yeah. Like there are some actors who they're kind of like, but if it works, it works, right? And I think it fucking works. And in The Watcher, she plays like kind of this like seedy realtor who's like befriends the mom, but is like not really her friend. And she was a joy anytime she was on screen in that series. And then my final honorable mention, which is also a horny mention, the same way you felt about Chad, is I don't think you're going to agree with this. I mean, I know you didn't see this. Timothy Chalamet in Bones of Awe. The second scene you see him in, he is just eating someone and he is shirtless, covered in fucking blood.
I truly do not understand the attraction to Timothy Chalamet. I will never understand that. It does not make any sense to me. And I fully thought you were going to say Thomas Doherty from The Invitation.
Oh my God, I forgot about him. Yes, he would be on there. Yes.
Disappointed in you. You picked Timothy Chalamet over Thomas Doherty in The Invitation. And I am so happy The Invitation is now on Netflix because I see people talking about it and it deserves to be talked about.
It fucking deserves. Like, I feel like we put out that podcast episode, but like nobody talked about that movie because like it's a good movie.
Ahead of our time, okay? Ahead of the horny.
Although I did see Philip Ellis, who was on for our episode with that, reply to a tweet because someone tweeted it was like, "Don't let Netflix fool you into watching this very bad vampire movie," and he was like, "No, actually, it's really great." Mm-hmm. And I'm like, "No slander, that movie's great." Yes, I'm mad that I missed that because yes, very important to mention his character. But I will say that I know, yes, he looks like a Victorian whatever, and he looks like a bag of bones. But
he's got a bone.
When it's like he's just eating someone and he's being really chill about it, and he just looks like some dumb like dude who would be in a punk band that I would have had a crush on when I was like 21. I still would have a crush on at 39. And then I also did, but it's a short list of like people who should have lived.
Okay, go for it.
The sister in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, just because fucking. I don't like a surprise death at the end. And it's not that I loved the sister. It's just like, let them live. They got away. Like,
I don't even mind a surprise death, but that was so fucking stupid. It looked stupid. Yeah. It looked stupid. It felt stupid. It played stupid. And the technology of Tesla was like fucking stupid. Okay. It was a stupid fucking movie. And Elsie Fisher deserved better.
Yeah, right. Like, I'm just like, man, like, because it's like he pulls her out through the window and it's just that feels stupid even, right? Mm-hmm. Like,
and then you have the sister kind of like, I know they were trying to mirror but it was so dumb.
Yeah. Anyway, all of the ladies in X, but especially Brittany Snow's character.
Yeah.
You and I wanted to team up with the ladies.
Oh yeah, it should have been the three of them. Okay, yeah. I understand where they're going with it now.
Right.
That this is the Mia Goth trilogy, but like, come on.
Yeah. So my like hot take is even though X is one of my favorite movies, I don't think Mia Goth stood out that much in X. I think like Pearl, she's fucking great.
I don't think Maxine stands out. I think Pearl stands out. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Brittany Snow definitely stood out more than she did, I thought, in X. But whatever. Yeah. She's a good actor. She's good in Pearl. And then Dewey Riley. We're not one of those fans that's like, but like, well, it was sad that he died.
it's a hard push and pull for me, right? Because I really enjoyed him in this movie, and I think this version of Dewey I would have liked to have seen in a couple more movies.
Yeah.
But I also feel like it was his time. It was kind of a time for him. Like, he didn't really have place in the series anymore. Oh,
well, and
about to get killed for that one.
I know.
Kill me. Eat me
Well,
up, Timothy Chalamet.
We're fake fans anyway. I mean, like, yeah, it's like he should have died in like the first two. He basically died and then didn't. But yeah, no, it's just like, oh, sad. Who do you have anyone else you would add to like they should
Julia Stiles. Okay. Her evil mommy take and orphan first kill. She deserved to be out there hunting Esther down while Esther is hunting other families down. Okay. We should have got real crazy with it.
Fast forward.
I feel like there was a bunch of them that really should have lived. Some should have lived and some should have died. Like Lindsay Wallace should have died with the best chasing of the entire franchise. Something like that maybe. I don't even care if she would have died. She should have got something a little bit more. She deserved a little bit better.
I mean, she just deserved more to do in that movie.
Yeah, and there's not a whole lot of people. I don't know. I'm sure we listed in a few episodes other people who should have lived, but they're not coming to my mind right now, so it means they're not really that important. Talked a lot about Sarah Michelle Gellar living. I'll go back to that one for 2022. Still agree with that. Yeah, so I don't know. There was a lot of content put out this year. I feel like every other week there was something new that came out. So we were trying to really keep up with everything. And I feel like I missed out on so many like B horror movies, or like I wouldn't even call them B horror movies, but just the indie horror movies that came out on Shudder or came out on streaming.
And Zach watches everything. I feel like he does watch everything.
And I feel like we will get to them because we usually do get to stuff. It just comes late. Sometimes you just want to watch Ready or Not and you don't really feel like watching Fresh, Like,
oh, yeah. Did I not put Fresh on my list?
Do you not have it on your list?
I think I might have mentioned it in the movies, I think. But wait, I guess honorable mention, because we did watch it. We didn't do an episode on it. Deadstream. We watched that. That's an indie horror movie.
I thought Deadstream was pretty cool. I think cool would be the word. I don't think it's something I would watch again. I don't think it was something I was super exhilarated by.
But it's worth watching.
I was like impressed while I was watching it. I think I was very impressed by like what he was able to bring out of it with such a simple plot and such a like clearly limited budget and limited cast,
Yeah. And like I totally agree with you. It is like it's cool and like it's impressive that he was able to like. Because at first I feel like you and I were like watching it, but then like it is like it's an enjoyable watch. It's totally worth watching, and it's cool that he did that. And that's the props I'll also give to Terrifier 2. Both those movies are impressive with what they did on like what they had.
Yes, absolutely. And I did like Terrifier 2. Ian did not. That's okay. It's okay. We're allowed to differ, even though somebody's opinion is wrong.
And it's Zach's.
Okay. So we need to come up with a list of 5 horror movies each. Your top 5 ranked in order from like we'll go down from 5 to number 1. Okay. But like that has to be your top and it has to be in order. And I feel like throughout the rest of the episode we have already talked about all of the other movies that we kind of really appreciate.
We should tell everyone we may Zach and I always like say there's a difference between what we think is the best and what is our favorite. So it doesn't mean that I think these are. I mean, clearly in our brains they were the best for us, but like doesn't mean we think like if we had to like do like a review of all the movies, this wouldn't probably be the official list, right?
Yes.
But it's like what we felt as our favorite, which is different than like what was the best. But so my criteria is just like me remembering it.
Yes.
Especially because, like, actually, my entire top 5 all came out at the beginning of the year. So, like, that's saying a lot. If I can, like, we're 2 days away from the end of the year, and I'm like, oh no, I still fucking love that movie. That's saying a lot. If like scenes stuck with me, but sometimes a scene can stick with me, and it doesn't mean there could be one scene that sticks with me. It doesn't mean I love the movie. But if they're like sticking with me enough, if they're more than one scene that sticks with me. And like tension and how it made me feel.
I think I'm with you on most of that. I think it needed to. I needed to remember it throughout the year. Like when I think of my favorite movies of the year, they have to like come quick.
Yeah.
They just have to come quick. They have to have, for me, I'll add rewatchability. Like I was ready to rewatch them. And I know we kind of talked about this and you don't feel like that you have to rewatch them right away. But for me, if I want to rewatch them right away, like I have seen Scream more times than, and I know you have to, more times than any of the other movies this year. So I knew that was going to be in my top 5. And I think every other movie on here I have watched 2 times or more. So I think that's kind of where I was going to stick with it. So I want yours. Go ahead. You do your 5. I'll do my number 5. Okay.
Damn it. So my 5 is me cheating.
Okay.
So
you're already fucking cheating.
I put
Silent Night, Deadly Night. It counts. Just go for it. Okay.
I put at number 5. I put Black Phone, Prey, and The Menu. And
that
Werewolf
is
by
cheating.
Night.
Pick one. Pick one.
I think fine. I'll go with Black Phone. Black Phone is number 5.
Alrighty. I don't have Black Phone on here, but I feel like
That's
I need
okay.
it. Okay.
You don't have to have it on there.
I don't. I'm gonna go with. Now I'm debating. Now you have me debating. So 5 is either going to be Pearl or Black Phone. I think I'm gonna give it to Pearl.
I think
I'm gonna give it
yes.
to Pearl. The Wizard of Oz, just craziness of it all. Judy Garland with an axe is how I've been describing this movie, and I think it just hit for me. So
I really like that you liked my description of that movie as a rotten Disney movie.
Absolutely. So that is my number 5. I'll stick with it. That was my original one, and I'll say number 6 was Black Phone.
Oh, now you're cheating.
Just, you know what? Just to give it, know where people, sit on it. Number 4, where's that?
Barbarian.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it to Scream.
I'm actually happy Scream made your. I didn't think Scream would make your top
It did
5.
make my list. I just watched. It's a really good. The Scream franchise has rewatchability out the ass.
Yeah.
It just is good. And like I would put Scream 5 at the bottom of my Scream franchise ranking today, but. As far as
that changes all the time.
That's just a fun movie this year that I was really happy with. It was this one.
Yeah.
Number 3.
Number 3 for me is X.
Okay, so we had Pearl and X all there.
we got them both covered. I just that movie stuck with me so much, and I wish Brittany Snow had been the final girl, but I will concede that because Mia Goth is so good in Pearl, that she'll probably be great in Maxine, and maybe they'll give her a little bit more to do. X also has a very good ending. I know you didn't love it as much, but I really like a comeuppance. A comeuppance is my favorite kind of ending, and this ending has a comeuppance where she fucking runs that old lady over twice with her car.
My number 3. This is real tough for me. Halloween Ends. Yeah, I put it.
Oh, I thought that would just automatically be number 1.
It just isn't. It wasn't. But I have watched it like 3 times. So
I actually meant to watch the end of that movie. I have meant to rewatch the end of it.
Yeah, I loved it. I love it. And so number 3 spot is still like basically a number 1 spot.
So my number 2 is Nope. Okay. I have rewatched that movie since what is it on Paramount Plus or Peak? One of those 2, I forget.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember. I was stoned recently when it came on streaming, and I was like, "Where is it?" And I was trying to find which service it was on. And I fast forwarded through it because it was I was stoned and it was at night, and I was like, "Wait, I want to watch this scene. Wait, I want to watch this scene." And the scenes are still good. That's definitely I'm not one of those people that's you have to see it on the big screen, but that's definitely a movie that works well.
It felt like a big screen movie. It did.
Right,
and I think that's what kind of played into my rewatchability for it, is that I don't feel the need to rewatch it. I saw it twice in the theater. I went once with Alistair, and I went once with a friend when Alistair was in the field. And I loved it both times.
You were cheating on me, or watching horror with a different friend?
Yes, yeah. But I don't feel the need to watch it again. I think I like
That's okay.
Us is my favorite Jordan Peele movie, followed by Nope, followed by
really?
Yeah, followed by Get Out. But I loved Us. I watched that one a good bit. I would
don't
put
like
number 2 is Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I think that was the movie I had the most fun with in theater. And while I didn't feel like the most tense during that movie, I fucking had a blast. I was so excited to go see it again when we went the second time in the theater just to get the audience reaction, and it didn't disappoint. It was so funny, such a great time. I loved everybody in it, and yeah, the experience alone bumped it to number 2 for me.
In case no one watched our Bodies episode, Zach made fun of me because I did predict the ending, and I think that also killed it for me because I was like, "There's not a killer. I know there's not a killer," and then there wasn't. And
I was happy I didn't predict it. I thought it was fucking brilliant. I was like, "This art."
It's like when I watched the first season of The Good Place with my ex and my roommate Kevin at the time. I said, "Have you watched that show?"
The Good Place. I've seen it. Yeah, I'm not like one of those watchers.
I didn't think it would be up your alley either. It's like
Alistair likes it, so if Alistair has seen it, I've probably seen part of it.
And when we were watching it, I was like, "Oh, they're in the bad place." Like that's got to be the end of this, is that they are actually in the bad place. And my ex was mad at me. He was like, "You spoiled it." I was like, "I didn't. That was just."
Did they get out of did they get out of the bad place, or did they just end in the bad place?
No, and the season 1 ends with Kristen Bell being like, "Wait, we're in the bad place," and my ex was furious at me. But like, that doesn't count as spoiling it because I didn't actually know that was like. I just was like, "Oh, that's what this has to be," because I just always think of like how you write the story, and it just didn't make sense for them to be in the good place.
It was so fucking going on. Yeah, I don't know. Bodies was great. What is your number 1?
I wonder what it is, Zachary.
Scream! Scream!
What could it ever be?
Scream 5.
Scream 5.
He's never watched the full movie again, but he has watched the end. You know, Paramount Plus cut him off. They did not let him watch this anymore after a certain point. He used up all of his watches.
It's not loading anymore, Ian. Watch something else. Pick something new.
It's like, don't you want to try something new? It's January, Ian. You don't want to try anything else?
I'm like, nope. I'm good. I'm good rewatching this. God, yeah. I think what was it, like every night for like a week I went to bed watching that.
Like, oh my gosh, Ian.
Hold on, wait. Oh, wait. I think I know what your number 1 is, I think.
Predict it.
Is it Barbarian?
It is Barbarian.
Yes.
I had both equal parts a fun time. I truly could not predict from moment to moment during this movie. I mean, like, there were some things where like the plot was like, obviously, like this is going to happen, or like they're going to do this. But this whole movie was just a whole like maze and different turns and twists, and had different beginnings and ends, and like it was just a fucking wild ride. I loved the people in it. Everybody in it was likable. Even Justin Long as this asshole guy was just Justin Long made it likable, you know. I felt for Mommy. I felt for the only guy I didn't feel for was the daddy in the
I didn't feel for Mommy. I will say, I know a lot of people say that, and I'm like,
I did.
Kill that naked, crazy mother with the big boobies. Like, get her out of here.
I give Dobby a sock, and we continue. We bring her into society, okay? Take her to a ball.
I watched her smash that guy's head in and fucking breastfeed.
That's all she knows. It's all she knows. She has only one VHS tape in her whole cave. That's all she has, okay? If it were VeggieTales, she'd be singing songs, okay? She just was dealt a really bad blow.
The only thing I will say about Barbarian, I mean, I loved it too. Is that the only thing that the thing I kept waiting for was there to be like 10 more mommies. That was like a weird thing that I was surprised we didn't get. But also we got playing Be My Baby at the end is just so bonkers, and I love it. Like,
it was great. It was good stuff.
I feel like Barbarian is a movie that I can understand why it might not work for some people, because there are so many like complete turns that it takes, but like they all fucking worked for me.
Yeah, I have a tier of movies that I've rewatched for comfort. I have coined the movie the term comfort movie. If you guys want to use it, you are allowed. And no
one's ever said that before.
Nobody has ever said it. Okay. And I would put this in there with it would be Barbarian, Malignant, Ready or Not, movies like that I would just like to put on while I do something else, while I clean the house,
Ready or
while I
Not would
fold
be
lunch.
for me, yeah.
Yeah, shit like that. And it really, this one goes in there for me. And those are usually movies that will like make the top of my year-end list, you know. And this movie, Barbarian, was like, I want to go watch it right now. I loved it. Tess was such a good final girl that like I would want her to come back for another movie and actually get to fight this next time, or like
Also,
more fight. She did fight.
I feel like a lot of people are like, no, she's stupid. And it's like, no, she's not. I fully get that she would feel bad if
Yeah.
she left that guy there and he died. Like, I would also feel terrible if it's like, well, I didn't go back and then they died. Like, that would weigh on me forever. So I would go back and I would probably get eaten, but I would go back.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't, God, she was just good. She was real good. I liked her a lot and I want her in something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's mine. I did not have Nope on my top 5, but I think it would be in my top 10.
Okay.
Yeah. And then The Black Phone again would be 6 for me. Who else would be in your top 10? Just throw movies out there, I guess.
The Menu, Werewolf by Night, and Prey.
Oh shit, okay. Yeah. Like I got him.
I got him. Werewolf by Night is like barely horror, but it is, but it isn't. And Prey is like a very good action movie.
Yeah.
Prey is something that I have rewatched. That's I've put on while I'm like doing shit. Like I think for me, like horror movies that are more like actiony or like a franchisey type thing are things that I can like put on as background. The Menu is just like I think you said this to me. I think no, you did. That is like the most what are words? It was the most palatable movie of the year, and I kind of agree with that. Like it's like,
well, I like to compare The Menu and Barbarian as like movies that would fall under a horror umbrella. Is that Barbarian, for some reason, and it made more sense after I likened it to Malignant, or I saw other people likening it to Malignant, is that Malignant also didn't hit with the general audience, right? Like a lot of people didn't like it. People who weren't horror fans really didn't like it. But like generally horror fans liked Barbarian, and the people who wouldn't have liked Barbarian probably did like The Menu, you know? And so I think that's like a really good comparison there.
And The Menu is like, I fucking loved it, but it's like also barely horror, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I would say horror, but again, it goes back to that sort of horror umbrella when we were talking about Violent Night and Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. It's like questionable horror, you know?
Right. Like it's definitely, The Menu is definitely a movie that someone who doesn't like horror movies could enjoy.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to say, obviously we're looking forward to Scream 6. I think that's one of the biggest ones we're looking forward to this next year. But also there's a movie called Knock at the Cabin. Have you seen the trailer for that one? I'm like super looking forward to that one. M. Night Shyamalan, and I never look forward to his movies, you know? I think that one's going to be a real good one.
Listen, I'm a defender of him. I like most of his movies that I've seen. I haven't seen all of them, because I know he's put out a couple. Like he has Old. The Village was okay, although that was a movie where I totally predicted the end, so I thought it was so obvious. But Lady in the Water, I fucking love.
That's great.
Lady
great
in the Water
is The Exorcist coming out this year also. Is that or is it 2024? If it's coming out, I am looking forward to that, I have to say. Even though it's David Gordon Green, I've lost a little bit of faith in him, I have to be honest. The Exorcist is still like, I love a returning character, so I'm very excited to see Ellen Burstyn, you know. I wish Linda Blair would be in there too. Looking forward to that one.
I forgot that she was returning.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was going to be
announced Linda Blair, but I like feel like she has to be there, doesn't she? Like
wasn't she in all of them?
They have to put her ass in there. No, she's only in 2 of them. But like she is the Exorcist girl. It happened to her. Why are we talking to your mother?
Right. If the mom's in it. For some reason I thought Ellen Burstyn was in it, but it wasn't a continuation.
I hope not. Did you ever watch the TV show of The Exorcist where Gina Davis plays Reagan McNeil?
Oh, Gina Davis plays her? I didn't know that.
I was pissed that it wasn't Linda Blair. I was like, Linda Blair is still alive, guys. Why are we not working with her?
That's Zach. That's wild because I didn't know. I thought that show was the same thing that was like completely separate from the movie.
There's a big reveal that it's Reagan McNeil. Oh. Sorry to spoil it for you. I have a feeling you never watched it in your life.
No. I did hear good things about it. Oh, and I gotta mention, I didn't mention this. This just popped. speaking of
Yeah.
Evil, this season was very good. Did you
I need
finally
to catch
watched
up
it,
on
right?
no. Mm-mm.
Okay.
I need to catch up on it, but like I do love that show.
Evil is like maybe one of my favorite horror shows right now. The only problem I had with this season, which in my like one group chat with Lewis and Steven, who have both been on the podcast, we were talking about it. And I was like, they need to wrap up some of these storylines. That's like the one thing with that show that is bothering me is that there's always like 1,000 lingering threads every season.
Hmm.
And this season was no different. There were still 1,000 lingering threads. And I was like, we gotta do something about like we have to close some of the plot lines.
Yeah.
But I think it's a fucking great show. And it's like it's weird to see a show like that. Because I remember when I saw a commercial for it, I was like, oh, this is gonna be like, oh, it's not scary, there's no horror. It's just gonna be like horror for like moms and dads. But like, no, it's actually like they lean into it. And I like
it's real good. Yeah, so this is intended to be our season finale. We've reached the end of season 2. We will be back in February for season 3 of My Bloody Judy. Yeah, and then I don't know. Have a great rest of your December and January. Is there anything else to say? This was a fun year. We this is the first year we've stood on our own 2 feet with My Bloody Judy, and it's been real nice. Okay.
Follow us on all socials. That is my
There you
promo.
go. And
Follow us. We're needing some followers on Instagram.
If Twitter goes down, we need to have
yeah.
the backup, okay, guys? So go over to the Instagram, and we'll probably be over there if the ship sinks. Yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching, and happy holidays, happy New Year.
Happy New Year.